Kion, was born into sunlight, into the warmth of the Pride Lands, into a family that believed destiny always arrived like a gentle breeze. But destiny came to him like a storm. From the moment he opened his golden eyes, the great kings watched him closely, not because he was Simba's son, not because he was a prince, but because of something far greater, far heavier, far more dangerous. The roar was inside him, power ancient enough to split mountains, sacred enough to summon kings, and destructive enough to break the strongest hearts. Kion grew up never knowing the weight he carried. To him, the world was simple. He played with bunga, chased butterflies, teased Kiara, and laughed at the silly stories Timon and Pumbaa told. He never imagined that one day the land would tremble because of him. But destiny reveals itself when innocence feels safest. It began on a quiet morning, the kind where the wind barely moved and even the savannah felt sleepy. Kion heard a cry in the distance, a cry he had never heard before. Not pain, not fear. Something deeper. Something wrong with Sao. Thinking, Kion ran, paws pounding through the grass, heart racing. When he reached the source of the cry, he found a small herd of gazelles cornered by a pack of hyenas. They were led by Ginger, whose grin held more hunger than threat. "Look what we've got," Ginger sneered. "A little prince out alone." Kion tried to speak bravely, but fear curled around his chest. "Leave them alone." The hyenas laughed. Fear fueled their confidence. And that fear did something inside Kion. Something ancient. Something alive. The roar woke a power. Older than Pride Rock pulsed through his body. The sky darkened. The winds swelled. Kion opened his mouth and the roar burst out like thunder, tearing the world apart. It hit the ground with such force that dust rose like a sandstorm. Hyenas were thrown back, tumbling helplessly across the plain. Even the earth cracked under its weight. And when the dust cleared, everyone stared not at the hyenas, not at the destruction, but at the cubs standing in the center, eyes glowing with a power too big for someone so small. Kion didn't know what he had done. He only knew the world suddenly felt different, bigger, and far more dangerous. That was the day he realized destiny always demands a price. And the roar had begun demanding his. Simba heard about the roar before Kion even returned home. The king's face, usually calm and wise, twisted with something close to fear. Not fear of Kion. Fear of Kion, fear for him. "The roar is not a toy," Simba warned sharply. "You could have hurt someone. You could have hurt yourself." Kion lowered his head, the joy he once carried shrinking. "I was just trying to help," he whispered. "Sometimes helping causes more harm," Simba replied. That was the moment everything changed. Kion wasn't allowed to roam freely anymore. Simba watched him like a shadow. Lions whispered behind his back. Kiara, though she loved him, started treating him differently. Careful, cautious, almost afraid. And fear spreads faster than truth. Soon the Pride Lands weren't looking at Kion as the young prince they adored. They were looking at him as a weapon they didn't understand. That fear grew, day by day, until even Kion began fearing himself. Until the roar started whispering back. The elders came to him in dreams. Their voices echoed from the clouds, from the wind, from the earth. Sometimes gentle, sometimes fierce. "Control it," they urged, "or it will control you." The control is not something a child learns easily, especially when that child feels isolated from everyone he loves. The roar responded to emotion, fear, anger, frustration. And Kion had all three. By one night, after another argument with Simba about responsibility, Kion ran away from Pride Rock. He didn't know where he was going, just somewhere the whispering would stop. But the whisper followed. Only this time, it wasn't the elders. It was Scar. The spirit of the fallen lion seeped into Kion's mind like smoke, venomous and patient. "You're just like me," Scar whispered. "A power they don't trust, a weapon they fear." Kion shook his head. "I'm nothing like you." "Aren't you?" Scar taunted. "They hide from you. They whisper about you. They wait for the day you lose control. And you will." Rogue lions tested the borders, and the young prince they needed most was withdrawing more each day. The roar inside him flickered like a storm ready to break, until one day everything did break. It happened near the Outlands, when a fire broke out, trapping a group of lion cubs. The flames rose high, the smoke thickened. The ground trembled with distant thunder. Kion stood frozen. The roar pulsed in his chest, but he hesitated. He remembered the destruction, the fear, the whispers. What if he made it worse? What if the roar hurt them? What if Scar was right? Behind him, Simba shouted, "Kion, use the roar." But inside, Kion screamed, "What if I can't control it?" Simba locked eyes with him, voice shaking with desperation. "You don't act now, they'll die." Something inside Kion shattered. The fear, the doubt, the trembling wall, all of it cracked under the weight of something stronger, his heart. Kion ran into the fire, planted his paws firmly, and closed his eyes. Not in fear, but in trust. Trust that he could choose who he became. Trust that the roar could be more than destruction. Trust that destiny didn't choose him to break the world but to protect it. The roar erupted, but this time it wasn't wild. It wasn't angry. It was focused. It swept the flames aside, clearing a path and lifting the smoke into the sky. The cubs escaped. The fire died. And when the dust settled, the Pride Lands fell silent with awe, but Kion collapsed. The roar had taken its toll. His body trembled, his throat burned, his energy faded until even breathing felt heavy. That day, he saved lives, but at a cost. Power always demands something in return. The roar took his strength, his voice, and a part of his childhood he would never get back. The Pride Lands celebrated him as a hero, but Kion didn't feel like one. He felt hollow, exhausted, changed. The roar was no longer just a power. It was a burden that shaped every step he took. Even as he recovered, the elders' voices returned, guiding him, reminding him, "You are the guardian of the Pride Lands." But even guardians bleed. Kion walked to Pride Rock that evening, the sky glowing gold. Simba met him halfway. No anger, no disappointment. Only pride and fear mixed in a father's eyes. "You saved them," Simba said softly. "I almost lost myself," Kion whispered. Simba touched his son's shoulder. "Power tests us in ways others will never understand. But you faced that test. And you won!" Kion looked out over the vast land he nearly lost himself to protect. Roar pulsed gently inside him, a reminder of the cost, the sacrifice, the destiny. But for the first time, he didn't fear it. The roar didn't choose him to break him. It chose him because only he had a heart strong enough to carry it. And even if it cost him everything, his childhood, his innocence, his peace, Kion knew one truth now. The Pride Lands were worth the price. And as the wind swept over the savannah, the great kings whispered through the sky, "Rise, Kion, your journey has only begun."